those are necessary.
Yep.
Like it's not a optional. It's necessary, because just imagine if we didn't have those tough conversations, if we still had some of the people that we had, where would we be?
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the importance of having difficult conversations with your employees or also the people you work with. And the reason why we're talking about this is because I know we've had to do those difficult conversations. And if you do want to start a business and you do want to scale it to a bigger stage, you're going to need to work with people. And I know once you have more people, you're going to have more people problems.
Yep.
So with that, my first question is, why is it necessary for someone to have a difficult conversation? Or could you just state any examples?
Yeah, I think, there's a few reasons why it's necessary. For one, it is tough at the beginning. It's very tough. I remember in the beginning, it was really tough for me to have like any type of conversations that dealt with like letting them know about any bad habits, anything that they were doing wrong. And obviously I didn't tell them directly that you're doing this wrong. Obviously you have to phrase it in a way where instead of telling them you're doing this wrong, let's do it this way. I know it was very tough in the beginning, but like how we've heard it so many times, the more you do it, the better you get. And honestly, that for me at least, that fear, you could say, of having that tough conversation, it started to dissipate. So I to an extent don't have it anymore. And so and I think that also comes with a little bit of like confidence. The more you do it, the better. And I'm not saying I'm good by any means or we're good by any means, but I think we're getting better for sure. But so it is gonna be tough at the beginning. It is, but you just do it, and that feeling will eventually dissipate. And so necessary because I know like not everyone is perfect, both as individuals and then in the workplace. Like not everyone does perfect work or does everything that ideally you're supposed to do, and so I feel like it, and we've heard this too, it's necessary to correct certain like habits or certain things, because otherwise the more they do it, the more they believe that they're doing the right thing. And also the more they do it, the more we see that they're doing something wrong, let's say, the more we get frustrated, we get annoyed, and that kind of clouds our judgment. Because I remember like a year ago, 2 years ago, when we had some people working with us that they weren't necessarily doing the best job, and I remember that was at the forefront of our mind. Instead of working on the operations, on the marketing, on everything, that was at the forefront. Like can this, like we were that's what we were thinking of. And so it took a lot away from like all the other things that we could do. So that that's super important. So like those things were necessary. Those tough conversations were necessary. And as a result, when we did have those tough conversations, we I wouldn't know how to like guide it, but we needed that to talk to them about like the work they were doing, like because also we were evolving and changing, and it didn't look like they were going to be able to adapt, but we wanted to give them the opportunity to adapt. So we talked to them. I remember that going into the conversation, I was a little scared because I know like we gave them like an opportunity to adapt. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and so the next time around, we did have to let them go. But we know that if we didn't have those tough conversations with them, and we let them stay, we would be building systems around them. We would be like focusing on things around them so that they would be able to continue working here. But then that's taking focus out, and it kind of like and the reason why we even did those tough conversations and let them go eventually was because we read a book. What do you call it?
It was two, right? It was Good to Great and Traction. Yeah.
But I guess at least for me, like the one that really kind of like painted it very clear was the Good to Great. Traction is really good, but I guess it's more detailed and technical. The Good to Great, it really is about who, not what. And so that's why having those tough conversations, and so yeah, and so we know we had to focus on the who, and so because we did that, we had those tough conversations. Now we really don't have anyone that we really worry about. And so because of that, it allows us to to pretty much just focus on the necessary things for the business. And so, you know, I feel like, you know, that those are some of the reasons why it's very important, you know, correcting bad habits, bad patterns, bad, you know, in general, like bad things. Even though I know that maybe like, and how we've heard it too, like, if we have the values and the values are instilled in the people, they should act based on those values. And so I know right now, because we don't have them like instilled within everyone, that's why we still have to have like quite a bit tough conversations.
Yep.
But I know like at some point, like we will like get our values down and instilled in everyone and live by them, at least within the company.
And then with that, I also want to emphasize that you want to have the tough conversations as soon as possible.
Yes.
Because I know if these are examples, and I know like they're gonna be very specific to our experience, but like if the start time is at a certain time, like let's just say 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. So if the start time is at 9 a.m., people come in at 9:01, 9:02, 9:03, 9:04, and they continue doing that. Later on, it progresses to like now they start coming in at 9:30 or 10:30, and so you want to be able to fix that, because the people around are going to start paying attention, and like that person is going to, their bad habit is going to start rubbing off on people.
Yep.
And it could be as simple as coming in late, or we're having a meeting, people are falling asleep. Just, you know, pull them to the side as soon as possible so it won't happen again. Like, hey, you know, you're falling asleep. You're being, in a way, rude to the presenter. The presenter's presenting. He's looking at you, falling asleep. In the presenter's mind, you're going to be like, am I boring?
Yep.
Like, am I doing something wrong?
You're going to cause a lot of doubt, and you're going to pretty much have them lose their confidence.
Yeah. And I, you know, looking at it through the other person's perspective, like, it could just be like so innocent without malicious intent. But, you know, you as I want to say the leader of the companies, as the leaders of the companies, it is your obligation to have those tough conversations as soon as possible.
And we've heard this, like we, you know, and we've kind of seen that it really does make a lot of sense. It's as soon as possible. Yep. Because kind of like, like as soon as possible is you know, you know, within like in the right setting also.
Yep. And I know we mentioned why and when as soon as possible. So my next question is, how do we go about it? You know, we pull the person to the side, we start talking to them. Yeah. What is the best approach from your experience?
Putting yourself in their shoes, I think, and that's one of the frames that really has helped me a lot. Trying to put myself in the other individual's shoes, because then that also, because I tend to like, you know, just think from my point of view, and so and when I look at it from outside and looking at them, I tend to like, you know, think or, you know, get not certain emotions, but maybe angry at something that they're doing. But when I put myself in their shoes, I kind of like see like I'm in their shoes. And so I understand why they do some of the things that they do. And so putting myself in their shoes and seeing where they're coming from, it allows me to kind of like calm down and become level-headed. Yep. And so, you know, just preparing for that, you know, put yourself in their shoes, and then, you know, like setting them apart. Like, yeah, because in general, it's not good, you know, to talk to them like in front of everybody. Yep. In general. So I would say taking them to the side and talking to them. So putting yourself in their shoes, setting them aside and talking to them about the situation. And then kind of like, and then obviously it's not like a reprimand, like, even though it may be, but it's we don't go at it hard or like, you know, to make them feel bad. You know, we go in there, you know, I understand, you know, like, you know, we understand. And so, but this is kind of like some of the things that, you know, you've been doing, or not even like that, but this, and just have the conversation in general. And so that's really like something that has helped, I think, us.
Yeah. And real quick, I want to go over the thing that you said of not doing it in front of people. Yeah. I do want to emphasize that, because you don't want to put them in the spot. And it goes back to us reading the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that you attract bees with honeys, or flies with honeys. Yep. So if you put someone in the spot, if you call them out, definitely like don't call someone out. If they're falling asleep in the meeting, don't be like, hey, you know, like so-and-so, wake up. Or if they did something wrong in front of everyone, because it does feel bad. Yeah. It feels bad.
But and that's something that I know, like these are some things that we're supposed to do. Yep. But we're not perfect. And so sometimes it does slip. So like, you will make, mistakes like that here and there, but through time you'll get better. And so like, not everyone's perfect. Like, not everyone's perfect. And so like, mistakes, little things like that will happen. You accidentally call someone out in the middle. You'll tell someone of a mistake in front of everyone. And so like, it does happen occasionally, but we are definitely improving. And as long as there's progress in the right direction, I think that's good.
Yeah, but pretty much that was everything from our experience. Yeah, I know there's more things that we have come across that, maybe they're super small details, but I think more than anything, it's just actually start doing it, and then you're going to get more comfortable, and you're going to get better, be able to make those tough conversations. It's going to come a lot more natural, and it's going to be a lot easier. Yeah. But with that, if you want to summarize having that difficult conversation, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I guess by just giving an example, I think maybe there will be more context into kind of how it looks like. Not saying that it's perfect, but I remember maybe it was like a year ago where some workers, they were talking, which talking is not an issue for us. It's when the talking starts distracting you and you start losing focus that affects your work. And so that's when the issue arises. But talking in general is not an issue for us. But that talking was starting to get excessive, and it's definitely started to get in the way of the work. Yep. And so I know back then, which we need to start doing again, we had bi-weekly evaluations. And so it was during the evaluations that I started, I told, so individually telling them, these are all the really good things that you've done. And these are some of the things that you can improve on. So then, we took them apart. We took them to the side, everyone in general, but we took them specifically to the side, telling them of the good things. And then these are some of the things that you can improve, because, this affects, not just you, but it affects the individual you're talking to, and it affects the individuals around you, because people can hear you. And so, and so we went through that. We talked to them, and then, you've seen that they to an extent self-corrected themselves too, because they knew and understood that, but I think they just needed to know and hear that too, so then they could correct themselves. And so that's just one example. And
definitely no, I think more than anything, it's just, it is going to have to happen if, growing a business is something you want to do. Even, let's just say you don't want to grow a business, but you want to be in a managing position. You want to lead people, within a company, not having your own business. It's still going to have to happen, as a manager, as a lead, as a supervisor. That's definitely something, knowing how to have conversations with your workers, or, with even your coworker, as colleagues. Yep. You do something that is affecting the company or is affecting other coworkers, definitely, like, not call them out in front of everyone, but, pull them to the side. Hey, like, I noticed this is happening, because this is happening. It's also causing, it's affecting other areas of work. So it is going to happen. It's just the sooner the better. And I know how, from our experience and how you mentioned, the first time is always going to be the hardest. But it's just with practice and repetition, it gets a lot better.
And then the last thing on my end, as you were talking, it kind of like you reminded me, or just made me realize that those are necessary to grow a business. Yep. Those are necessary. Yep. Like it's not a optional. It's necessary, because just imagine if we didn't have those tough conversations, if we still had some of the people that we had, where would we be? Like it's necessary. So it's not an optional thing, especially if you want to grow a business. And so it's a necessity. It's like 100% you need it, or be able to do that. And so, because like I reiterate myself, like, just imagine, like, if we wouldn't have those, like, the amount of things that would happen, the amount of things that we would dislike, the focus that we would put on it. There's so much. So I think that tough conversations are 100% necessary and are not optional if you definitely want to grow an organization with people. Yep. Because that's really gonna be the company, people.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with what you said, and that's something you're gonna continue working. That's something I'm gonna continue working on. But with that, let us know your thoughts, or let us know any comments. If you had to have any difficult conversation with a coworker, a colleague, even a friend in your personal life, just let us know. We love to hear your thoughts. But with that being said, this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Alexis.
My name is Juan.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.